That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. Okay, I don't know. Whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter. I don't know what that is. I've never seen that.
No, there it is. We are going to do Sting, yeah.
Okay, but now I can't read it. There's no words on it.
Okay. Ready? Sure.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean? To play us out.
Sting is going to do. It's a video. Sting video.
What is
for credits?
I don't know what that means. To play us out. What does that mean?
Can you hear it?
To end the show?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it.
Okay. In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with a. I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live.
Right.
Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks again for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.
Oh, I gotta see his breakdown. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining today. Let me just go ahead and do a quick intro for everyone. My name is Latifa, and I'm really excited to have you all here today. I just wanted to say that we're getting started in just a few minutes. I'm waiting for a couple more people to join. I hope you liked my skit that came out just now. That guy is my favorite. So since we're going live, this is impromptu. Well, it's not impromptu, but we're going live. We'll just wait a few minutes for people to join. All right. Did it switch? Okay, I pressed something. Let me welcome you. So today I'm going to just talk about a few things about myself. Let me tell you a bit about me. Like I said before, my name is Latifa, and I'm a professional person, but I have been in fashion for a very long time. My family got started, my family moved to Liberia when I was about 13 years old, and that's kind of where everything got started. That's kind of where I decided that I had something to do. I had to figure out exactly what it was that I wanted to make. I had to figure out this whole clothes thing by myself. There were no stores, there was nowhere to shop. So you'll see some pictures in there from before. But during that time when I was about 13, I started to go to fabric stores, go shopping with my family, well, mainly with my mom, because she's a super artsy person. At any given point, she'll pull out a glue gun and some scissors and fix a hat, fix a button, fix a shirt. So we would spend hours in the fabric store, and I learned to appreciate fabric and fashion. So as when I moved to Liberia, I started to make my own stuff. And I realized that it's not as easy as it may seem, right? So you've got to try and figure out how things fit, where the buttons go, the quality of the fabric, and so on. And these were things that I had to figure out then and there. After a while, I became obsessed with this. I decided I wanted to make my own patterns and make my own prints and design my own actual fabric, which took me ages, but we'll get to that. But that's a little bit of a backstory on me. And then that's how I ended up in my 20s, I decided to dive right in. I'm like, okay, I'm going to make my own brand after having a bespoke brand and working with other people, making them custom made products. So I started to talk to Chinese manufacturers and suppliers. I visited Turkey. These are all things that I'll go over more in this conversation, but let's get started, and I'll tell you exactly how I got here. One of the reasons why I think this live is important is because I realized working with some of the clients that I have, it was really difficult for them to understand that there were more steps involved in starting a fashion brand. They would come to me for sourcing help and sales help. Okay, I have this product, help me sell it. I want to make this shirt, or I want to start my own boutique. And they'd come to me for that help. But then I realized that everyone is not where they think they are in the process of starting a fashion brand. A lot of times people think that because you have money, that you're all set and good to go. They think because you have outside of money, like it's also because if they might think, okay, I have a great fashion style. And this happened to me too. I mean, when I used to dress really nice to go to work too. And I was like, oh my God, I should have my own brand. And it's just not that simple. Just because people compliment you on your clothes doesn't mean that you're ready to start a brand. So today, this live is for a few different people. And I hope that it resonates. And I hope it's helpful, because starting a fashion brand is not about registering your business. It's about and picking brand colors. You have to know exactly who you're selling to, how you're going to sell it, and all of those things. So let's get into it. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And if you all have any questions, oh, hey, there's my friend Felicia from Switzerland. Thank you so much for joining today. Thanks so much. Please ask some questions. This is a friend of mine joined. She's a stylist, and she knows a lot about fashion too. If you guys need a stylist, reach out to her. She's in Europe. Okay, so the best way to spend your first $10,000 in fashion. I decided to use this amount because I feel like I went into the whole thing thinking that I could start a brand with $10,000. In some ways you can, but not what I wanted to do. You definitely cannot manufacture products. So we'll get to that. Would love to know where everyone's joining from. So I'm going to go over today's topic. So I gave you my introduction. I'm going to talk about some steps you should take before you dive into it. You want to have an idea of what to do. I've told you a little bit about me, but my story is going to run as a thread through this, and I'll tell you why I made these decisions and where my mindset was and all of those things. All right. Well, this conversation is, like I said, it's for you to think about how you're investing your money. I mean, a lot of times you save up, or you got your tax return, or, you've been thinking about it. You borrowed some money from whoever, and you're like, all right, I know exactly what I'm going to do. But then you were wrong. And then it's embarrassing because you've now blown your savings. The people who thought that you knew what you were doing end up not wanting to invest in you anymore. I didn't do that. I spent all of my own money. Fortunately, but unfortunately. Who this is for. So this is for who's going to benefit from today. If you're thinking about it, you've been searching up things online, this might have come across your feed, and you want to be a startup founder, or you are a startup founder where you have your business registered, you have your brand identity and all those other things. Definitely people who have access to capital, because this whole concept of I started a brand with $500, that's like not real. It's not real. They're lying. They're lying to you. It's not real. Because before you talk about domain, and in America, it's $200 to register your business. You did not start your business with $500. And on top of that, you can't even sell on several different platforms if you don't have a registered business. So that's all a lie. I'm also going to talk a little bit about accessories as well, because I did launch my own accessory brand at one point, as well as a direct-to-consumer brand called Cheeky Pineapple. Those of you who know me know when I was doing Cheeky Pineapple. And if you're trying to consider where to source, like let's say you've sold a couple of things, but it just didn't go the way that you wanted to. You're thinking, I need to find a new supplier. I need to find out a better sourcing option for my next set of products. I need to figure out my pricing. I'll talk a little bit about those things in here too. I'm going to use a few words that you may not know. MOQ. This means minimum order quantity. Just keep that in mind. These are terms that people use a lot in the fashion space or in the wholesale space in general. A tech pack. A tech pack is what you put together to send to a manufacturer. It's definitely a process, and you have to know that this is a thing to do and know how to do it before you can get anything manufactured. And then there's the option of white label. White label means you've taken a product that's already made, and you don't customize it. You just put your logo on it. You put your tag on it. You put your branding on it, and you sell it just like that. So are there any questions? I'm going to pause for a bit and see if there are any questions from the audience. Yeah, let's see. What are we doing? Well, hi, everybody on LinkedIn. Hi, everyone on TikTok. Hi, everyone on my website. Hi, everyone on YouTube. This is live on several different platforms. So let me give you guys a minute to come up with some questions. Let's see here. What did working with tailors teach you that most founders never learn? Oh, okay. Well, this is a great question. I'll go into this. One of the trajectories and how you can start your brand, and I'm going to just go ahead and skip to that slide. There are a few different ways to get into fashion. One of the reasons why I went this route is because I thought to myself, I am not about to work for free, because this is when I was about 20 something. I wanted to go to school for fashion, but my parents were like, absolutely not. So I studied political science. But I was thinking, okay, I can't afford to live in New York City and intern and work for free and work my way up at any of these places. That was off the table for me. I was a consumer, but I couldn't sit there. And I grew up before there was influencers. Like I couldn't have been an influencer at the time. So I was just a consumer, and it's just like, what am I going to do? That path wasn't even an option for me. And I felt like I couldn't find the things that I wanted in the stores and the fits that I wanted, like the actual fit that I wanted. You can also be a distributor. You can do white label, resell, and manufacturer. I'll get to those. But what did working with tailors teach you that most founders never learn early is how to make patterns yourself, like how to see a product and say, okay, I want this product. How am I going to make it for my own brand? You've got to think about a few different things that are involved in that. You need to think about length, fabric choice, stitching, seam allowance, closures. How is the garment going to come on the person's body? All of these things are important to think about. And since we're talking about tailoring, this is one of the reasons why I don't recommend going into manufacturing as your first way of getting started. And that's because if you don't know how to make clothes, it's going to be a lot harder. First steps towards starting your brand with the white label method. Oh, okay, great. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the white label method. I have a question about that. So white labeling. And I mean, as I said, you guys can ask questions throughout. I'm going to answer them because this is kind of like an open discussion. So I want to make sure I'm touching on things that are relevant to all of you. So white labeling. This is great for I talked about a fashion brand, but this kind of falls into several different brands, whether you're doing hair extensions or jewelry or shoes. A lot of shoes are white labeled. Let's say notebooks, phone cases, cups, stuff like that. Any type of other useful accessory, hair curlers and things like that. So when you want a white label, what they have is called an OEM, which is kind of the same thing when you're contacting the manufacturers in China. It's OEM or MOQ or something like that. OEM means that you're white labeling it. This is just a term to think about. So what you do, you go on Alibaba, which is very difficult to use. I will say it was a learning curve. It took me a few years to understand what I was doing. And then you're up late at night texting people in China at 3 o'clock in the morning because they actually still work on their hours, even though their customers are across the pond. So you're going to go on a site like Global Sources, Alibaba, and you'll find a product that you like, right? And I'm going to give an example. I did like I said, a jewelry brand. I was like, okay, I want to customize it. I want them to engrave my logo in there. And then they started talking about 5,000 piece minimum order quantity and all this other stuff. So the best way to go about doing that, you buy the product and you really package it with your label on it. So if for some reason I'm going to use jewelry as an example, you put all of your packaging on the jewelry, you put personal pictures that you've made on your website with you wearing it or a user generated content or something like that. That's how you get started with white labeling. And that's really the best way to get going, especially if it's like a product and not a fashion brand. But I mean, let's say if you wanted to do garments. So I'm going to use the shirt that I'm wearing. It's a very simple puff sleeved shirt. I love this shirt. I got it from Primark when I was in the UK. Very cheap. So, but great quality. What you do is you would get those and you get your own labeling, right? So you'd put your label in here. They come with nothing in there. You order your labels. You can do the iron-on ones. You can do the stitch-on ones yourself. And then you do all of the other branding that goes around it. So that's one way to go to do the white label. And I would say the limitations are you can't customize things. Like I understand you may think, okay, I want the collar to be turtleneck. Like that's not white labeling. That's when you're doing something that's more custom and it requires more order quantities. So those are the limitations. You have to take the product exactly the way that it's delivered to you and just put your name on it. But I think this is important. And this brings me to my next point. Let me see if I have a slide on this. This brings me to my next point where you're trying to understand your audience, right? So this is a realistic process that you can go through. Step one, you pick your product. You understand your audience and how you're going to distribute. I can't stress enough the importance of knowing where you're going to sell your things. If you're not an influencer, this is going to be hard for you. If you're not in any community groups or if you don't have any way of getting in touch with and speaking directly to your audience, this is going to be tough. Like honestly, starting a brand off the whim without doing too much research is really best for influencers. Point blank period. I'm going to be honest with you because they have a following. They know where their following is coming from, all of those things. So you pick your product. You understand your audience. I have an article written about understanding your audience and where you fit in the grand scheme of fashion. It's on my LinkedIn. It's called Fashion Archetypes and How to Choose the Right Products for your brand. Then you're going to order your samples. So that's where you go into the white labeling part. And then you do a pre-launch. What was I saying? Let me talk a little bit about reselling. And this is something that I don't think is mentioned enough when they talk about starting a brand. Like this is also possible too. And this is your resale. You're an e-commerce brand. It's almost, I would put reselling and owning a boutique as pretty much the same thing. And that's where you're sourcing from several different suppliers and you're putting all of it in your shop, you're curating it, you're the buyer, you're the merchandiser, you're deciding what feel you want, and then you're just going to put all these different brands in there. So I went to Turkey several times And I think I have some pictures on that video of me in Turkey. Let me show you guys. Yeah, it was here. So this is me in Turkey, and this is right outside a hotel that I loved. I was there in the manufacturer's office when I was making my first sample of coats, and that was a complete disaster. Let me know if you want me to go into the cost of manufacturing and why it's not realistic for when you're first getting started. And then there's me flowing through the districts. I'm at the top there on a rooftop. I could see all of the market there. It was great. I loved it. So yeah, visiting when I went to Turkey, and I decided, okay, here's how it started. I met a supplier at a trade show. I went to a trade show for textiles, right? And I decided that, they were great. I was like, okay, I like your fabrics and things like this. So I went to I flew out to Turkey, sat in the room, the picture that you saw me before, sat in there, and I sketched something out. I sketched out this really cool quilted jacket, and I was like, I picked the best fabric, and I picked the best pattern, and I wanted satin lining, and I wanted plush. Like, I want it different. I don't want it like everyone else's things. And I've got $10,000. I'm about to spend my $10,000 right here and start my brand. It's actually I'm ashamed for you. Gonna leave now. Drop the mic. Someone said I should drop my mic. No, I love my microphone. I've been waiting for a moment for a long time to have a microphone. Who is that? How rude. Let me see. Oh, I love that I don't care. Anyway, I went there and I thought to myself, here's what I'm going to do. And it was a rude awakening because it just doesn't add up the way that you think it does. You pretty much need to. So let's say the cost of making my jacket was about $54, right? Mind you, this is one size. It's about $54. And I figured, okay, if that's for one size, that's $54. That's the cost price. Ideally, in fashion, you usually price your products 3.5 times the price of creating the product. But you want to oftentimes factor in a few different things, like this is like your landing price. After shipping, after packaging, what is the total cost of the product? And oh, hey, okay. Hey, Priska, how are you? So then you want to times it by 3.5. That's usually a good way to make sure that you're making a profit. You've got marketing in there, you've got returns and things like that. So I'm thinking it's going to be about $200 for this jacket. And so they told me, all right, our minimum order quantity is 100 pieces per style, per color, per size. And what that means is, I'm going to use this as an example. This is a shirt. It's in a size medium. I want small, medium, large. So I need 100 small, 100 medium, 100 large, only in one color. That's 300 pieces in one thing, in one color, one print, one fabric. I mean, how am I going to use this $10,000? I'm not going to be able to afford to do this. I had a great conversation with the vertical factory owner. And one thing he told me that stuck with me, he was like, fashion is a nasty business and it's difficult. And sometimes you lose out. Like you're going to lose out. And, he says it's a nasty business, but you have to have you've got to have the tough skin for it. And it's not cheap. It's not reasonably priced. So one thing he asked me that made me kind of take a step back and just sit down. He was like, who are you selling to? Like, you've designed this jacket. You live in the UK. Your network is in America. But this style is for West Africa. This is a very West African style. This is a vertical factory owner. He makes the fabric. They sew it there. They make the patterns and everything. And that's when I was like, I have no idea how I'm about to sell this. I have no idea. So before I sit there and pour that money into making this one product, I need to understand how to sell and have a distribution network, which took me to where I decided to start my brand called Cheeky Pineapple. That was a direct to consumer. I said, if I could sell to people online anything, then only then will I go into manufacturing. So I'm going to pause there and let me see if there are any questions. If there are any questions before I go forward. I've got LinkedIn in here and YouTube. Any other questions? Wait, maybe I should open it. Hi, people on TikTok. Hi, I hope this is helpful. Somebody says I should drop my mic. I will at the end. Let's talk money. If someone had 10K, what can that realistically do and what can't it do? If it were me, what I would do with the 10,000. Let's pick a product. Okay, whoever wrote that, what product? Because it varies depending on what it is that you want to sell. Do not do shoes. Shoes are the most expensive thing to sell. There are too many SKUs, too many sizes. There are fit problems. It's a lot of returns. You've got to really know what you're doing to start a shoe brand. And I have so much respect for people who do that. Like people who go ahead and take that risk to start a shoe brand. Just know that you're starting with $250,000 at the minimum. Silk robes. Oh, this is a great question because this is one of the first things that I decided to make after I learned about the sizing issue, right? So let's say if you want to make silk robes, and that is a great way to start because guess what? You can sell those in one size fits all. So if you want to manufacture it, that's great. First thing I would do if I wanted to sell silk robes, I'm thinking, am I an influencer already? Let's say you're not. Let's say you're a regular professional like the rest of us on here. I would start by taking, let's say, take about $500 and just order all the silk robes that you like. Like there's a reason why you wanted to sell that because you saw it somewhere and you're like, you know what, I can make a better version of it. Spend your first $500 to $1,000 buying as many different competitors' robes as you possibly can. And once you do that, you decide, okay, what is it that I like about this? And luckily, you can find these online. They're on AliExpress and Alibaba. So you go on one of these wholesaling sites, you look at the specs, you know that this is satin, this is silk, this is polyester, this is rayon, or whatever all of that's written in the description that people usually don't pay attention to. Contact that manufacturer, get some samples. Usually it'll be like 12-piece MOQ, or some of them are larger, but you want to find one that has like a small MOQ. Order those. Find a few different suppliers and see which one of them is the easiest to communicate to, and buy some samples. Take pictures of those samples. This is all within your first 1,000 before you've dropped a whole bunch of money. Take some pictures of those samples, put them online, wear it somewhere. Maybe even do like a little market stall somewhere, like a trunk thing. See what customers say. See how it resonates with them. I think silk robes, caftans, that's the best one to start with. It's the easiest. It's the most straightforward. So I think that's a great idea. And that's before you even get to 10,000. Now, for the most part, silk is not sustainable for those of you who don't know that because it's made from silkworms and they kill a lot of animals to do that. So you want to make something that's cotton. A soft cotton is the best option. So now you've gathered all this research and then you can take the other 9,000. Matter of fact, I would take 3,000 and put that towards stock, my first set of stock. Let's say the wholesale price, including shipping, is $25 for each one. Take about 3K, get your first set, start to post pictures, start to send to influencers, start to show up to different events. And that's how you get going. You have to leave a good chunk of money for marketing. So just get ready to spend money on some ads and placement. That's the best way to go. So there's that. What time are we at? Okay, we're halfway there. So I'm going to go ahead and start to wrap it up. I definitely want to see some more questions. Let me finish going through this so I can give you guys some more information. What else? What else is there? Are there any other questions that you guys might want to know about? Now, I'm going to tell you what to do first. Here's what you invest in first. Do competitor research. There's nothing new under the sun. Okay? There's nothing new under the sun. So whatever idea you've come up with, that's why you can't trademark your fashion design. Somebody did it before. So you get your competitor stuff and see, you know what? Another pro tip. I hope people tuned in for this. You can find where they made the product on the labels. Like if you look at the labels on the inside, that's how I found some of my manufacturers actually. If you look at the labels on the inside of your clothes, you'll see where it was made, where it comes. This was made in Ireland. Sometimes you can even see the manufacturer's name is sometimes written on there too. So if you scan it, put on ChatGPT, they'll tell you where it is. That's a lot easier. I had to translate it into a different language. Yeah, you do that. You buy the products, get a couple of samples, and you want to talk to customers. That's where you start. I learned so much when I did my first market stall. So I had partnered with a company called Skinny Dip London, and I was reselling some of their stock, their back stock. And I was I went to a university. I had a table set up with a lot of the clothes that I had sourced as well. And one of the reasons why I love sourcing from Turkey is because they do lower order quantities, low MOQs. So like you can get as low as 5 to 6 pieces. If you want to know more about that, message me and I'll tell you. Yeah, so when I did the stall, I had bought all these clothes that I thought were going to resonate with college students. And as I'm not a college student, I'm very far from that. I didn't realize how far away it was. I noticed that it was a Christmas time. I noticed that the students were like, oh, I mean, this is nice for my aunt. This is nice for my mom. This is nice for my older sister, and some of them didn't like fast fashion. That's also a thing because these were affordable clothes and they gave a fast fashion kind of feel. And talking to the students helped me realize how I was going to buy for the future, like what else I was going to be buying for the future. Like this, I have to really embody the person that I'm shopping for and understand them. And it's like, don't source for a person that you don't know personally, like if it's not you and your friends or a family member. Here's what you do after that. After you've gone through all of that, you've got a little bit of money left. Then, only then, do you go and start doing all this extra money on branding. Like you want to come up with a name or something like that, like maybe some packaging. But before you start spending money on like the whole brand identity and all those other things, get all of that stuff done first. You can always make changes later on. Don't buy a bunch of inventory quite yet. You need to have like consistent. I would say when you have sold 50 pieces, then you can start buying wholesale, like a couple hundred at a time, or spending a large chunk of money. Too many paid ads. Don't do that. And I mean, it is 2025. There's no reason for you to be paying for photo shoots. It's good, but you don't have to, especially if you're just getting started. And super complex websites. I did that. I built a wholesale marketplace. I thought that it was going to be easy, and it actually wasn't. It's called Cheetah. You'll see that on my LinkedIn if you guys take a look. All right, so this is a lot shorter than I thought. Let me do some key takeaways for you. Find your audience, utilize AI to ask it a lot of questions, start small, and start with a low order quantity suppliers. Okay? And also, if you have questions and you don't know what to buy, I built a chatbot. It's called Cheetah Fashion. You can find it on ChatGPT. You can go, this was made for a buyer. This is made for somebody who's starting their own brand. One of the things that I just said I did really badly was I didn't buy properly. I didn't understand the trends for my audience. So this is a good way to go in there and say, what's trending for middle-aged women that live in Texas? What's trending what's the summer styles in Spain? You can ask those questions. What color schemes are popular right now? It's going to give you all the answers. So go ahead and use that, ask questions, and let me know what you think. All right. What else do we have here? Any other questions, people? Nope. Let's see what LinkedIn says. How many people joined? Thanks. All right. Does it not say that I'm live? Oh, okay. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. Keep in touch. I will do some more of these. I hope I rambled enough and asked you guys a bunch of questions. Answered a bunch of your questions. And I'm super excited about this series. I just think it's unfair. Let me leave you all with this. I think it's very unfair how the fashion industry is set up. It's elitist. It's very opaque. It's like, everything's a big secret. Like, before I started the series, I went online and I did some research on what everyone was telling, what was coming up, at least for me. And I didn't see anything that really gave me a setup that made sense. This all came from 15 years of experience of trial and error. So I just couldn't find the info that was like, okay, you could sell white label, or you could do this, or you could manufacture, or there are so many different ways. It depends on your budget. It depends on what's important to you. Do you want to be famous? Do you want to be behind the scenes? Like, there are so many different ways. So the reason I did this is because I don't think it needs to be so difficult. I would love to hear and see more voices in fashion, and so that everyone isn't dressed the same, because it's really getting old. All right, guys, thanks so much. Have a good day, and follow me on LinkedIn, visit my website, book a call. Bye.